So I've said several times in the past couple of years that I thought the first Titanfall is one of the best first-person shooters this generation. I still think that. And it's so rare for a brand new IP to come out and to be as rock solid as that game was. I felt like the gameplay, the running, the jumping, the shooting, the audio, the visuals, the Titans, everything about that was just almost perfect. And I still think that the game would be massive today if it wasn't for its biggest flaw, which ended up being huge and turned everybody off, I think, which was lack of content. There just wasn't enough content there at launch, and it turned a lot of people off, including myself. Not enough maps, not enough Titans, not enough customization. So whenever I hear about Titanfall 2, I'm getting all excited. I'm like, the way that they rectify this is you take Titanfall 1, you take the gameplay, and you just add more content to it. Like, you don't remove anything, you don't screw it up, you just add on content, throw on a single player, throw in more customizations, more maps, etc., and you got an awesome game for Titanfall 2. And so I've been pumped about this game ever since I heard that they were working on it. It's been on my most anticipated list for this year, and it stayed on my list all year long as I read about it until I actually played it. And I don't know how they ended up doing this, but somehow it feels like Titanfall 1 should have been the sequel to Titanfall 2. And it just boggles my mind. Like, to me, there was really nothing to change as far as the gameplay from Titanfall 1. And yet, this really doesn't feel like the same game that I enjoyed the heck out of a couple of years ago. But before I get into what I don't like, let me kind of preface this with the mandatory statement about how, yes, I'm aware that it's a technical test, because I'm going to have, all the keyboard warriors coming at me saying, this is just a tech test. It's not a beta. It's not a demo. It's not an alpha. This is just to test the servers. Look, you can call it whatever you want. I've just been through this rodeo enough to understand that there's a lot of games that we've played a couple of months before the release, and the vast majority of those games don't change a whole lot. So I'm not saying that this game isn't going to change. I'm not saying it can't change, can't be delayed, whatever. I'm just saying I'm going to play the game and tell you about what I just experienced, because this is my first hands-on experience with it. So, like I said, usually not too much changes with 2 months to go before the release. It could be an old build though. Let's hope for that. So the first thing that struck me about playing this last night and earlier today was that there really didn't seem to be that many Titans on the field. And so in the first game, there was a timer that counted down, and then you were given a Titan. So you knew that you were going to get one throughout the game. You knew that other people were going to have one, and that was just something to look forward to during the match. Now, you might get a Titan, but sometimes you may not get one until the very end of the match. Sometimes you may not get one at all. And so on paper, this may sound like a good idea. You may say, well, Dragon, that's less newbie, that's less casual, etc. But, the game is called Titanfall, so you would expect to have more Titans on the field than what I've been seeing during my gameplay. And also what this does is, maybe it was, unintentional, is I've seen a lot more camping due to this. And so a lot more people are sitting on the outskirts, hiding in bushes, everything else, trying to pick off people who are running by simply because they need to kill people now in order to get this Titan. Whereas in the first game, I don't remember running into a lot of campers. And it's not just the way that they've got the Titan set up now, like also the very game modes themselves sort of encourage this campy type gameplay. Bounty Hunter, you're rewarded for camping out near the bank terminals. And Hardpoint, you capture a base, but then you can capture it twice to amp it up. But you're sitting there and you have to sit on this base forever to amp it up. So you're just sitting there. You like are almost rewarded to camp, like the game encourages you to camp. Which, again, in the first game, I didn't feel like there were any game modes that kept you camping or that you were rewarded for camping. Like, you were on the move, the game was built up, the maps were layered, where it was meant to keep you running on the walls and jumping up vertically and everything else. Now, the way the maps are laid out, at least the couple that we've got to try, it's wide open, which is kind of strange. And then you've got these game modes that kind of encourage this campy behavior. Now, right before I started recording this video, they did put out a patch that lowered the limit that you had to do to get a Titan in the hardpoint game type. So they are hearing people like me complaining, and they are making adjustments and changes. So obviously this isn't just a tech test. Like, they are changing things, they are hearing your feedback, and this is why you should be giving feedback, and don't be getting upset because somebody's bitching about the game. This is the time to complain before the game comes out so that they can hear our complaints and try to get some of these things changed that need to be changed. So they did adjust that, and I played a few rounds with the patch on, and it did seem to help a little bit, but I still didn't get that feeling like I felt in that first game. And whenever I did get into the Titans, and it may be, the Titans that they have for us to actually use right now, they just didn't feel as, I guess, useful or powerful as the first one. Like, they almost felt just kind of like an extra boost in the game. And so they also felt really clunky and everything. So again, I don't know. I'm sure that there's going to be several more Titans that we'll get in the full game. They're going to have a lot more than what they did in the first one. But the ones that they showed off, I mean, they were pretty limited in customizations, which again might be due to it being a test. But it was pretty underwhelming, to be honest. Another thing is, whenever you're on foot, I mean, is it just me, or does it feel like you're running in sand or something? Like, I don't understand how you're able to run so fast along the wall. You can wall run super fast, but then damn, you are slow when you're running on the actual ground. So to me, that felt a lot slower than the first one. And they've also got the time to kill set way too low. Like, to me, it's like playing Call of Duty. And so I think that needs to be upped again like the original. Again, there were so many things that felt different from the original game that didn't need to be changed. Like, it was great the way that it was. And so I think also having the time to kill so low, it really discourages the wall running, the jumping that made the first game so fun. And again, it kind of encourages that sort of campy behavior. And I also have no idea why they have an outline on the enemies. That definitely needs to be cut out. Also, the game just feels sort of empty to me. Like, in the first Titanfall, there were so many things going on. Like, there was constantly somebody calling out something on your headset. There were little things, popping up or whatever. But not only that, just in the map, like, the maps just feel empty. And I know a lot of people like to make fun of the cloud-powered AI in the first one. They were making fun of the game mode attrition. But you know what? The people complaining or the people making fun of it were the people who didn't actually play the damn game. And so that ended up being the #1 game mode in Titanfall. And it honestly made it feel like a real battle because there were enemies everywhere. There was constantly something to shoot. There was always a reason to keep moving, to keep pushing forward. And so I thought attrition was a great game mode. And one thing that kind of has me worried is that the devs have stated that Bounty Hunter is the evolution of attrition, which makes me kind of afraid that they're not going to be bringing back attrition, which again to me would be a downgrade to not bring the #1 most played game mode over to your sequel. Now, Bounty Hunter does have AI in it. They do have grunts and specters and all that. But again, it's not near as many as the first ones, and I don't know if it's because the new servers can't handle it or what, but whatever it is, it just doesn't have the same feeling like the first one had. Now, the rest of my complaints are kind of minor, I guess. I mean, as far as like the visuals, the sound, and everything goes. In the first one, for instance, it sounded so badass whenever you called in your Titan. You would look up, you would see this crap like flying off of it, like breaking apart in the sky. You would hear this roaring, sort of like a space shuttle taking off. And in this new version, that was one of the first things that I did. Whenever I got a Titan, I looked up, I wanted to watch it, fall out of the sky. And in this one, it's just like, it just falls out of the sky. Like, it just falls out of nowhere. Like, it just kind of warps in. And it's not near as slick looking to look at. And I mean, again, it just feels like Titanfall 1 should have been the sequel to this one. There were so many better things and elements, I think, in that game than there were in this build. Now, I mean, maybe this is an old build. I am hoping that this is an old build. I'm hoping a lot of things can change, but I'm not sure that it will, especially if they stay on this track of trying to release this game in October, so it's only a couple of months away, and there's not a whole lot of time to change a lot of things. And I'm not saying that, the game was a total flop. It wasn't completely horrible my entire time gaming. I do like the grappling hook, which is a new way to maneuver around, although that too can be a little clunky at times. I also don't mind that they got rid of the burn cards. Like, I know some people have been complaining about that. For me, honestly, never been a big fan of the burn cards. I don't like them in Halo either. Another thing that I like is the battery system where you can jump out of your Titan, grab a battery, jump back in, it'll give you health, or you can also do that with your friendlies and everything else. But one thing that I do hate that they took out was the rodeo system, like being able to hop on enemy Titan's back, pull something out, shoot it to death or whatever else. And now it's like you're having to watch a cutscene while you're in a multiplayer game. Like, you just jump on, it's predetermined what you're going to do. At first, you're going to pull out their battery and run away with it. And the second time you jump on, then you throw down a grenade into the slot. So, again, it seems like a step backwards in my opinion. Overall, pretty disappointed with what I've played so far. I'm going to continue to play it throughout this test. I think there's another test going on next weekend, but I can't help but feel like this is a step backwards from the first game that I absolutely loved. And I really would have been happy to just take the original's gameplay, the original mechanics, and just added a story, added more content, added more customizations, etc. That would have been fine. But this plays a lot more like Call of Duty Advanced Titans to me. And it's gone from a must-have on day one to must wait and see how Respawn is going to respond to the feedback that they're getting. And I'd almost like to see them delay this game and launch it early next year if this is the game that we're going to get on launch date. If this is the current state, just delay it, because I got plenty other games that I think will keep my attention, and I'm not sure that this right now is. So post your thoughts down below on Titanfall 2. That does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.